On the northern edge of the Great Basin area of the United States is a wondrous region known as the Owyhee Country. Everything is evidence of early human struggles of existence. Conventional theories of wandering people from Siberia date these struggles to the last 12,000 years. Surface evidence clearly indicates the presence of hunter-gatherers to 10 or more thousand years ago. Some more significant may have prospered in the Owyhee Country so many millennia ago. While scholars refuse to consider any possibilities for existence of a society on our continent, some Native Americans preserve oral traditions which speak of a time very long ago when their ancestors came into conflict with giants that roamed the region. Tribal accounts show some resemblance to biblical stories of a pre-flood world inhabited by giants. For example, Genesis tells of the Nephilim, supposedly of great size and strength. Giants were portrayed with an insatiable thirst for blood, and because of this savage lust, were violently swept away by a great deluge. Most of them perished, but a few survivors supposedly made their way to various parts of the world. Scientists dealing with the hard data naturally dismiss such stories as mere fables. They explain widespread belief in giants found among cultures around the planet as the result of collective unconscious or universal fear of overwhelming forces beyond their control. These same conventional archaeologists likewise deny the occurrence of any natural catastrophe, such as a deluge, powerful enough to obliterate a previous world order. Geologists, however, continue to uncover more evidence establishing that truly cataclysmic flooding did indeed take place with the close of the last ice age. About 12,000 years ago, when areas inhabited by early human population centers in Europe and North America were overwhelmed by major flood events. The violence of these catastrophes in the 10 or more thousand years that separate their time from ours have obscured almost all physical evidence of that pre-Diluvian era. But more imperishable than the material artifacts are the tribal memories of ancestors that actually survived. Something of those memories may have survived in the Owyhee Country. There, a river, reputed to be one of the deepest on the North America continent, is surrounded by walls so steep that sunlight never penetrates to the banks far below. The Breno River was named after a French fur trader in the mid-17th century. Near its headwaters stretches the legendary Land of the Giants, who terrorized Shoshone forefathers, frightening them from their ancestral hunting grounds. These were found in the Pine Nut Mountains along the Jarbidge River. Here, the huge Tsawhawbitts, evil spirits in superhuman form, ravaged the Indians. Their old stories tell that these giants possessed an appetite for human flesh and could cross creeks with a single step or scale mountains in a few strides. They chased and captured people, putting hapless victims in huge baskets which they carried to the mountaintop for cannibal feasts. Some Tsawhawbitts gazed from a single eye and hopped around on one leg. They were sometimes observed high on the rocky peaks, digging for unknown objects. People learned to stay away from these lofty crests because the giants, in addition to their prestigious size, were known to exercise supernatural powers. They could paralyze their prey with a glance from their large red glowing eyes, then harpooning their quarry with razor-sharp hooks. The natives so feared such peaks that present-day natives still refer to central Idaho's Sawtooth Mountains as the Kawapakan Kani, or Giant's House. A Shoshone version describes Tsawhawbitts, rocky giant with pitched hands that fed upon human flesh. Tribal elders repeatedly warned their young to be careful around the pools of water at the springs, as these were dangerous areas inhabited by evil-spirited giants. Staring into the water, allowing one's image to be reflected, could conjure the giants to the surface. The Shoshone legends adds that the giants could be killed by fire or ice, but using these weapons took enormous courage and cunning. If a Tsawhawbitts was found in its deep mountain cave, a large fire was built at the entrance and allowed to eventually burn inward until the giant was consumed. Other stories tell of the use of ice. One night, a Tsawhawbitts kidnapped a little girl and promptly ate her. In its greed, the giant returned for the parents to add to its bag. The Tsawhawbitts soon found the father, chased, and captured him, then put him in the basket. But on the way back to the mountain peak, the man escaped and ran ahead to the cave. A freezing blizzard began outside while he filled the cave's entrance with trees and branches. When the Tsawhawbitts returned, he tried to free the obstructed materials, but they were lodged in too tightly. During the night, the father could hear the giant whining. By morning, the sounds had ceased. The Tsawhawbitts was frozen to death. Tales such as these have been told and retold for countless generations in tribal communities. Folkish memories of events surrounding the evil giants lived on through these narratives, which are still considered factual by many Native Americans. Like all myths, they undoubtedly have at least a seed of truth buried deep within the age-old accounts. In any case, oral tradition eventually materialized into numerous interpretations and continues to elude academic scholars, who sometimes describe the petroglyphs as the meaningless scratching of bored Indians. Several anthropologists have used terms such as idle scrawls and doodles to characterize native rock art. But for a pre-literate people, such images still resonate with tribal memories of a time in the very deep past when giants and monsters were purged from the earth by a great flood. These petroglyphs are the only memorials preserved in the otherwise incomprehensible marks of ancient rock art and the minds of those who maintain the old ways. Here is a little history of what the Shoshone call Tsawhawbitts. In their language, it means cannibal giants. It is now called Jarbidge Wilderness Area. Here's the history. Many Nevada towns owe their origins to a prospector, a pickaxe, and the discovery of gold. Though these elements are certainly entwined in its roots, the story of Jarbidge begins a bit more eccentrically. It begins with a legend. Shoshone Indian lore told of a man-eating giant that frequented the area that would become Jarbidge Canyon, ensuring a grisly demise to anyone who dared to brave the region. However, nothing, including the viciousness of the mythical cannibal giant, could deter the prospectors, whose only compass was the allure of glittering gold. The legend of Tsawhawbitts. According to the Shoshone legend, a giant named Tsawhawbitts roamed the canyon, looking for unsuspecting souls to devour. Shoshones avoided the region for fear of the evil giant, who they believed would capture men, toss them in a large basket, and take them back to his camp before consuming them. The area was uninhabited by the Shoshone for many years before the quest of gold led to activity in the region. Because of its remoteness, Jarbidge Canyon originally saw minimal traffic by prospectors. Folklore tells of several substantial finds in the area that ended up lost forever, including a discovery of rich ore in 1883. A sheep herder by the name of George Ishman is said to have discovered ore in the area that assayed for about $1,200 per ton. He was stricken by illness before he could relay the location of the riches. Prospectors' efforts almost proved futile until 1909, when a man by the name of Dave Bourne discovered gold in the canyon and didn't keep quiet about it. Dave Bourne quickly spilled the beans, claiming that more than 27 million worth of gold was visible in what would become known as Jarbidge Canyon. Drawing major interests from newspapers across the country, the discovery triggered a gold rush, causing hopeful prospectors to swarm the region. The rush for riches led to the formation of the Jarbidge mining district, and by 1911 the town had a population of approximately 1,500 and boasted a new school, improved roads, and a variety of businesses, and a community hall, which still stands today. The young town's future looked hopeful, and there was even talk of forming a new county once Jarbidge population became large enough. At the time of the discovery, the settlement should have been called Tsawhawbitts. Mispronunciation resulted in an unusual moniker. Settlers began to incorrectly refer to the town as Tsawhawbitts. The muddled name continued to evolve until a sign which read Jarbidge was hung in the town. According to Penny Egan, Director of Tourism and Public Relations with the Jarbidge Community Association, the El Coro Mining Company came to Jarbidge in 1913 and bought numerous claims. The mining company is believed to have removed approximately 10 million in gold by the time the company closed in the 1930s. The mine is at one time the largest producing gold mine in Nevada. Like many mining camps in Nevada, Jarbidge had its share of law intervention. The town was the location of the last stage robbery in the United States. That is stage, not stagecoach. According to the Vignet published by the Director Emeritus of the Northeastern Nevada Museum in Elko, Howard Hickson, stages were wagons that carried the mail and small shipments, including bank deposits and other financial transactions. In 1916, a man by the name of Fred Searcy was driving a horse-drawn stage in Jarbidge when he was attacked and killed. The culprit, a man by the name of Ben Cool, and his accomplice Ed Beck, fled with several $1,000s, but were apprehended and quickly tried. In the process of the murder and robbery, Cool apparently left a bloody handprint on a piece of mail, which, according to an article published on an official website for the community of Jarbidge, was the first time a palm or fingerprint had ever been admitted as evidence in a court trial in the world. As mining in Jarbidge continued over the years, the town continued to build and expand. Then came the fire. According to Hickson, the El Coro Mining Company installed power lines in Jarbidge in 1919, but refused access to town residents, a decision that came to haunt the company. A barrel of homemade whiskey blew up in the basement of the Success Bar. Hickson writes on his website, gbcnv.edu, with the help of open gas lamps and an explosion, the fire quickly spread. Burning tar, paper floating in the wind, spread the fire to the other side of the street. In all, more than 20 business establishments and log cabins succumbed to an inferno, including a telephone office, movie house, and dance hall. According to Hickson, residents of the Jarbidge were bitter. They claimed that the gas lamps wouldn't have fueled the fire had El Coro allowed residents to hook into their power lines. Eventually the company conceded and allowed people to connect to its lines. Jarbidge reached its pinnacle as a productive mining camp between 1916 and 1933, before all major mining operations were suspended in 1941. Though several small mining operations continue today, the millions of dollars in gold that Bourne once reported have since been removed. Laying legitimate claim to the title of the most isolated town in the lower 48 states, Jarbidge sits neatly tucked amongst the rivers and tall peaks, surrounded by miles of beautiful, spectacular scenery. Located more than 100 miles north of Elko, the area is renowned for bubbling brooks full of trout, flourishing populations of Rocky Mountain elk, mule deer, and other wildlife, not to mention Bigfoot sightings, a long history from the Shoshone Indians to present-day Bigfoot reports come out of the area. Miles and miles of remote dirt roads which weave through the Jarbidge wilderness area. In the summer months, the quaint town attracts the eyes of trekkers and tourists. Cozy bed and breakfasts, an RV park, and several primitive campgrounds make Jarbidge an attractive location to experience the atmosphere of a historical Nevada town. Fishermen are drawn to the area because of the surrounding rivers and alpine lakes. They hold an abundance of mountain whitefish and red brand trout. The town becomes a popular big game hunting camp during the late summer and fall months when hunters come from across the state and flock to the area for the vast wilderness area to try their luck at hunting. The town is home to a couple dozen year-round residents, drawing large crowds during its various annual celebrations, including the Labor Day Corn Feed, 4th of July Parade, and its largest celebration of the year, Jarbidge Days. The annual festival is comprised of craft fair, parade, community yard sale, live music, and more. Jarbidge offers an assortment of amenities, including the trading post, which sells groceries, souvenirs, and supplies. The North Star Mine Gas and Gifts, which sells gas year-round. The town site also includes a look at old miners' cabins, the old Jarbidge jail, and former brothels. The Jarbidge Community Hall is still used for meetings, dances, church services, weddings, and more. The original stage curtain in the hall depicts a Venetian gondolier and ads for early businesses, all of which are no longer there. According to Egan, a common misconception, though, is that the town becomes completely inaccessible during the winter months. I've lived here for 10 years and have always been able to get in and out, Egan says. It really is a 12-month year-round place here. If you find yourself with the yearning to explore one of Nevada's isolated treasures, the town of Jarbidge awaits. Just keep an eye out for the Tsawhawbitts, the Cannibal Giants. I hope you enjoyed all the images of Jarbidge, all the film footage of the Jarbidge wilderness area. We love to go investigate Bigfoot sightings, Cannibal Giants, Tsawhawbitts, whatever you want to call these creatures. We love to investigate the locations that people claim that these happened. Keep on watching. We're going to keep on squatching.